Hi, Kim. We'll wait a few seconds. I'm just logging on and I'm going to start sharing my screen. And you'll have to excuse me because I am on the Mac and I'm usually used to my PC. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I was going to do it on my PC, then I realized at work I don't have my camera and that wouldn't work. Okay. '23. Okay, so we're going to be talking about creating your listing presentation or your pre-listing. Let's see, we have about 9 people on. And so I'll get going. You probably have to speak up if you have a question because I can't go into presentation mode. There we go. And I can't see you when I'm in, when I'm showing my whole slide presentation. And then I forgot to send myself, so hold on a second, to send myself my listing presentation. And just about ready to get started. 1 second. I hate using 2 computers at the same time. I'm not one of those. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to be talking about your listing, your pre-listing presentation, what tools you can use to create it, what it should include, and just what the package should have. We're going to maximize the model and look how we can do it easily, faster, all those great little things. So on your pre-listing presentation, I think we've all seen the seller service cycle. So there's the pre-listing, the lead, which is the most important part, right, is who we're going to talk to. Then we're going to the pre-listing, creating it and delivering it. The listing consultation is presenting it. And then once we get that contract signed, how we're going to service the market, you know, offers, contract, and close and post-close. But right now we're just going to really talk about the pre-listing presentation. And so first I want to talk about what's your goal. So, you know, for me, the goal is really building a pre-listing presentation that's consistent. So I know what to say no matter who I'm talking to. And I just really personalize what it is about that client and that home, whether it's a single family home, condo, townhouse, it doesn't matter. But really what we do is pretty standard, right? We're gonna get the property, we're gonna market it, we're gonna bring in sellers, and we're gonna close the deal. And so what does that consist of? And then we're gonna talk about some objective handling, hopefully. If you're not participating in Randy's class, you should. And if you haven't seen Gene Rivers present, he's absolutely amazing. I think he has a 1,000-person team, and really all he does right now is just travel and just manages his team from wherever he's at. And he says that if you have a powerful pre-listing package, its main job is to cover the dirty work, all the things that people might object to and all the things that people need to know about. and you give that to them in advance, and it really answers a lot of the questions. So when you go into that consultation or that appointment, all that's already taken care of. It is really focusing on them and the property and how you're going to get it sold. And so what's in a pre-listing package? Does anybody on the line want to talk to that? Everyone's being quiet. You can take your mute off. No? Okay.
I don't actually know what goes in a pre-listing packet. I've never used one, so I'm actually curious to hear what you're supposed to do.
Oh, good, you haven't. Well, you know what's great about Command is that they have a template that you can use and create, and then customize a little bit for yourself. So it's a great tool. But I didn't have that before when I was an agent at another brokerage. So having that here is amazing. And so the pre-listing is really a package, a process, and a way to get your customer or your future client to buy in. And it really adds to having a successful appointment with that client. It's really interesting because I normally deliver it in advance, and their homework is to really read through it and pull their questions together they might have for me. So by the time I get in front of them with my with the package, I go, did you do your homework? Did you read through it? What questions do they have? And they usually don't have that many, so that I could convert the conversation into what I can do for them to help them move and sell their property and move into their new property. And so, so they're really designed to have that seller get some confidence in you, and that you're a real agent. You walked in. I don't know if you've seen them. I'm going to grab one. I'm totally excited because when I came here, there's the machine in the back, right, where we punch the holes, and it's a plastic cover with the back, and it works well. But when I was at my other brokerage, we had these great books. I don't know if you can see them. Hopefully you can see them. And you see they're branded with Keller Williams, and it just says Keller Williams, so to give us more of a global brand when we go into our listing presentation. You print out your sheets, you put them inside, and there's a machine where you put the spine, and the glue warms up, all the pages warm up, and it becomes a book for you. And so that's how you can deliver it, which I'm loving. So once again, really giving that seller confidence in you. You know what you're doing. They read through it. It's presented nicely.
So how does that change with COVID though? Because I thought we weren't supposed to give documents to clients in person because of germs and stuff.
I ask first if they want it delivered in paper or digitally, and it's up to them. The last one I did, they wanted it in paper, and that's fine. And then and I told them that I would just drop it off on their porch, and then because it's digitally, and you could deliver it either way.
Because I think even with the PED, when we did a Mike Sibilia call the other day, he says he doesn't even want us to do a PED in person because he doesn't want us to give documents to someone for fear that they might think later that it was the cause of illness or whatever. So he won't even let us do a PED in person. So I would think he wouldn't want us to do.
Check with him.
I don't know.
I'll check with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. It's changing almost daily, right? Because right now it's spiked again, and the last one that I just did was about 2 weeks ago, and they actually asked for it in a format, and I gave it to them in advance, and then we went through it on a Zoom call.
Right. Okay.
So, like I said, it's changed almost every day. So yes, do whatever Mike says, not what Donna says. Way better. It keeps us out of trouble.
Right.
Right. But having the pre-listed also saves time, right? They already have it in advance, whether it's digitally or printed, and they're able to go through it and ask the questions. And the Gene Rivers quote is great. Activity, check over, we're going straight to, here we go, wait a minute. They go straight to that, huh? It's really interesting because these classes are really meant for us to do them in person and have a lot of script practice and a lot of conversations between a group, and it's kind of hard when we're doing Zoom calls, right? Pricing. So I did a whole class yesterday actually on pricing and how to develop a pricing recommendation and how to handle their objections. It was such an intense class. I mean, the book that we went through is called Pricing Strategies that I did through SCORE. And they talk about how to really develop a good CMA and do a deep dive on what's selling in the market that are like properties. And the problems with finding, if there isn't a lot of like properties, how to make adjustments in the properties that have sold so you can come up with a true price recommendation, because it's really up to the seller to finalize that price. We talk about objections in the booklet that you received. Has anybody ever received a lot of objections on the price recommendation that you might give your client? Anybody? No? So if I feel, as part of the price recommendation, I also go through the homes that I include in the CMA with the pictures, and you could do that on Zoom, and say, do you think your house is better or worse, or what features are like features or like features? So they really start understanding the why you came up with this price recommendation, and it really gives you the opportunity to hear what they think of their property. Sometimes they think oh, I remodeled my kitchen, but you remodeled your kitchen 10 years ago, right? There's a real huge difference from a kitchen remodel 10 years ago to what's cool and in right now. And so before you even get the objections, you should really develop your own price recommendation strategy on how you're going to get there prior to having this conversation, so that you can handle the objections, right?
Do you prepare them in advance? Because I just lost a listing to, I already had a listing agreement signed, but it had expired because of COVID problems, delayed us. And then they ended up going with a 1% lister just to save money and make a buck, and so I'm thinking, oh, I really screwed up. I should have somehow included in my listing presentation, if someone comes along and says they can do 1%, this is what like, how can I overcome an objection that hasn't happened yet?
Well, so you're talking about like Redfin, the 1%?
No, it was just like some brokerage called Mr. 1% or something like that.
Oh, Mr. 1%.
I don't know.
I went up against flat rate realty.
Right. Yeah. So how do you prepare them if they don't know about, you don't want to say there might be a 1% deal. They're like, oh, really? Where do I go? It's like, I don't want to, like, how do you educate them in advance without actually telling them that there's 1% listers out there?
So it really goes back to what's your value proposition. And I don't think we're going to talk about that today, okay. But for me, I don't just, I could say, well, oh, that's great. But I don't just put a for sale sign with some flyers in the front of your house and walk away. I'm partnered with you from today till you close, until after you close. And I'm there with you to make recommendations on how to prep the house, on staging. And then for me, my value prop is my marketing skills, because I was in corporate marketing most of my life. And so one thing I do understand is marketing, and I have a huge network of people, and 1% isn't necessarily going to have those skills or the vast network or the ability to do what I do as part of the fee. And I pay for my marketing. How much marketing are they going to do at 1%, right? I mean, they'll lose money if they pay for staging, or if they pay for marketing, or even if they mail 1,000 cards out to promote that listing at 1%, they're going to be losing money. So how much are they really going to do on your behalf to market your property so that you can, garner the best price in the least amount of time? But, sometimes, it all depends on that's your value proposition, but what's your client, what's important to him? Is it just price? Is it how much money is in his pocket? Is it, so you got to work both angles too. What's important to them, and then what you bring to the table. But the Redfin, really, they just, they focus on buyers. They'll do a sale for 1% because, well, in the old days, right, that's really difficult now, because you don't just get buyers walking in the door anymore without an agent. So how are they doing it, and how are they making money? And that's by just putting a for sale sign up, and that really doesn't do much for you. Does that help? I hope it does.
Yeah, it does. I just didn't know how to bring up the topic at all. You know what I mean? Like, because they didn't know about the 1% guy until he swooped in later, like actually 9 months later. So
Really?
yeah, so they didn't even know 1% was a thing until he showed up. But
I mean, like on $1 million, I mean, what's 1% of $1 million, right? I mean,
well, it was like well, it really should have been $7.99, but they wanted to overprice it too, which is interesting. But
that means they get 1% and the buyer gets, so it's like a 3.5%.
right. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. So it's probably 2.5 on buyer side, 1% on seller side.
Yeah.
So 3.5. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So probably like 3.5%.
Yeah. So what's the difference between 3.5 and 5? I don't know if you're doing 5 or 6, right?
I was doing 5, but then I also had a Homes for Heroes cash grant of like $7,000 that they were getting. So it was actually less than 2.5% seller side.
Wow.
But they still, just to save a buck, I mean, I guess they just assumed that he would do everything that I did. And I'm sure he said the same thing, but
yeah, I mean,
he can't do it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really like, what's your value prop? And then you put dollar amounts, or, that cost me X amount of dollars too.
Yeah.
Market your property correctly. Here's the postcards, here, the property plus email blast is $20. The cards to the neighborhood to 800 to 1,000 people as coming soon and for sale. That gets expensive, right? And those are the things that you pick up just naturally, and maybe they're not aware of that. And so maybe when you're going through your pre-listing presentation, you can list out everything you do from a marketing standpoint and the costs associated. I mean, you could easily spend a couple $100 just on Facebook ads, right? Depending on how aggressive you are. And so really to list and let them, be really transparent on all the things that you do to market that property, to expose it to the, to the most people possible. And then also when we're selling it twice, right? We have to sell it to an agent, and then we have to sell it to the client, to the agent's client. So we sell things twice, and that costs money. And so and so I kind of always, you invest in me by that 2.5%, but I also invest in you by making sure that I market it correctly to, I develop an avatar. What kind of person is going to buy in this neighborhood? Is it a 55 plus, or is there a lot of kids? And then you market to that audience, and this is what it costs. And that could be part of your presentation as well, versus, mine is more, this is all the digital marketing. I don't put prices around that, but you can say average cost to market a property is blah, blah. So that if you do have that discussion, you have that there as backup already. It's an idea. But I know how disappointed it is when you get the 1%ers coming in and take over. But they're just really putting a sign in, and that's it. And
I also looked at this person's past sales, and it was like sold, canceled, expired, sold, expired, canceled, expired. Like he doesn't even care if the house sells. He's doing a high volume, so he gets 15 listings, and if only half of them sell, he's still doing better. So but how do you tell? Yeah, so it's like if they knew that, then they probably wouldn't use him, but it's too late now because he's already signed a listing agreement with them. So, it's like, I can't go back and tell them they screwed up, it's weird.
Yeah. Well, and it's really the, developing rapport and a relationship with your clients up front, so that maybe those kind of conversations not only won't happen, but if they do, it's a little bit easier. It depends on what kind of relationship. Was it just business? Or what we talk about.
And I had a good relationship with the wife, but the husband was never around. He was always working. And so I think he's the one that made the decision because he saw he could save a buck. But I didn't have a rapport with him, and he didn't really know me that well, which is probably my mistake. But every time we had a meeting, he would just scurry off to another room, or he was in there because he was working. So so a whole other problem.
That you can really work on is, who's going to be the decision. I need all the decision makers to hear this, because, we're going to sell this as a team.
And I told him that, and he would still just walk off after 5 minutes. Like he didn't care.
Really?
Like they had a baby, and he was in the reserves, and he was deployed, and it was like a whole thing. I mean, I'm sure in his own mind, he had decent excuses, and to him, it wasn't important. So, yeah.
Did you have a 6-month listing? Well, 6-month listing with them, or?
I did, and they signed it, but then they had the baby and decided to postpone. And then COVID hit when they were supposed to relist. And then this guy swooped in but they were actually going to sign the agreement. I went to their house. They said, okay, we'll sign it tonight whenever, we have more time when the baby's down. And then they never did. And 2 days later, I called and they said, oh yeah, we got this other agent. He's going to do it for less. So yeah. So he somehow swooped in there in between. I'm not really sure how he found him, honestly.
Yeah. So how long have you been with Keller Williams now?
7 years.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, those got to not let that happen to you again. Right?
That's why I'm here.
Exactly. Let's get through it. And so let me see. So objections on price. So really the price recommendation, I mean, it could be a whole class, and I think I'm going to teach one in August because it was actually a great class. And understanding, I had this really, one thing too is understanding your market before you go in, like the whole price recommendation is really, and I wrote it down today. We only have, I think it is 1,598 properties on the market today. And about, God, I had it written down. And I always write it down every morning, and now I can't find that one piece of paper because I'm in this class, damn it. Sorry about that. But I did know that there's last week or the last couple of weeks has been around 247 closings. And so when you divide it, there's about 5 weeks worth of inventory. And so that's a good way to go into that price recommendation. Then you say, and this is your neighborhood, and this is what's happening in your specific neighborhood, and these are the comps, and this is why. But that could be that was yesterday. That was like a 6-hour class for me. That was a brief overview. But then don't forget, everybody, we have an objections class with Randy that we call SOS, and that'd be a great place to talk about objections and do some script practice with him. And so I talked about your value proposition here. I told you what mine is. It's really because I was a marketing exec for, I don't know, about 25 years of my life. I think one thing I do understand really well is marketing. So my value prop is my marketing skills. I've been doing this for 25 years. And that I have a really large digital footprint, and that seems to impress them every once in a while. There's probably, I have, probably like, I don't know, 10,000 people that I'm connected to on different social media channels, plus my database. And so when I send out an email, we talk about my value prop, right? Because I was in marketing and have a really vast network with people that are usually director levels and above. And so when I send out an email blast to my database, you're exposed to the people that can afford a $1.2 million house in San Jose, and they're looking in this area. And so that's my value prop. Anybody else has any ideas of what their value prop should be? You guys are quiet. I like that. I think. I don't know. I can't see anybody because I only have my slides on. So sorry about that. Nothing on value prop? And so to satisfy their needs. So when I talk about my value prop, usually I listen, what are their needs? They usually want to get out of that house quickly and at top dollar. So I address that, and I address that through, my marketing skills, and then how I'm going to add value and how I'm going to add value to that transaction, right? You guys are easy. And your unique seller, your unique selling proposition. So besides my marketing, I talk about my professional and personal background. I talk about how I'm a commissioner for the city of San Jose. And since I focus in San Jose, that's an important selling prop because I have another network of people out of there. I talk about my education and special interests, talent, skills, family, kids, mom and dad. You always want to find that connection between you and that client. Anybody has any ideas on that? What would be your unique selling prop? No? Okay, so those are the two things that you'll include in your listing presentation. So anything, any major points, any ahas, or is there a one thing that you could do that could make everything else easier for you? Anything?
It's hard to know what not to say because if you said everything that you want to say, it would take longer. So I have a hard time cutting back my presentation and not boring them to tears.
Well, and you know what? It's about them. So you should be asking them a lot of questions, why are you moving? So I talked about I have a listing that just went live yesterday. So when I sat with them, it was, Keller Williams always talks about going 3 deep. And you should at least go 3 deep. So, why are you selling the home? My job moved me to Phoenix, Arizona. How long have you been there? How old are your kids? Oh, my son just graduated from high school. Where he's going to go to college in Phoenix. And okay, so I'm thinking, okay, they're going to move. They need to go quick. He talked about how he hadn't seen his family since February because of COVID. And so he wanted to hurry up and come back here, grab his family, prep the house, and then take them back to Phoenix as soon as possible. And when he said as soon as possible, I knew that timeline had to shorten, right? I needed to prep that house and hopefully get him out to Phoenix sooner than he expected to really not only get the house ready, but it's what he wanted, right? And so it's listening and asking questions.
Right.
Okay. So we talked about the listing consultation already. So really know your scripts and materials. I'm practicing my scripts like crazy. I'm getting partners. I think I have 2 partners right now. Twice a week, I practice scripts for a half hour. I'm working on FSBOs actually right now. And then understanding the market, which I was going to be so cool and give you exact numbers of what's happening in Santa Clara County. And I don't have it. That's going to make me crazy, I tell you. I do have it. Here it is. And so to really understand, like I said, understand the market. So we have 1,596 total listings, active listings in Santa Clara County. Out of that, if I'm selling a house, it's really important to understand that number. So I have 1,010 single family homes on the market today, 388 condos, and only 190 townhouses. We have pending 1,078. And last week we sold 274. So if you figure it out, the absorption rate, we have 5 weeks worth of inventory, right? And so total sellers market, I talked about, 1 to 3 months worth of inventory is a seller's market. And so you're selling at a good time. I talked about the interest rate and where an FHA loan. I just got somebody into an FHA was 2.75%, 30-year fixed, and a non-FHA is around 3%. So to know those numbers as well, totally important. And then we talk here about using your communication skills that build rapport. We talk about mirroring. And really, the communication skill doesn't necessarily have to be communicating. It could be listening as well, and to know what to say when they're asking you questions, and to really listen and to understand. Like when he said, I want to take my family back to Phoenix as soon as possible, I'm thinking about going back around the 20th. Well, I got him to go home on the 13th. And, he was jumping up and down because it gave him an extra week where he didn't have to be here, work remote. He could go back. He understands he's in an apartment right now, but he took his family and he was happy to have him in an apartment with him because he hadn't been able to spend absolutely any time with his family since February. So that was a big win. And that was just because I was listening to him when he was talking. And anything else so far? And so being a consultant, not just an agent, right? So that's just, don't talk about me, be a consultant, ask to help, bring in your industry professionals to help them get a handyman in or order the inspections or whatever it is that they need, help them. Just don't be an agent about putting that sign up as quickly as possible and putting in some flyers and walking away. and then to build an appointment toolkit. So an appointment toolkit is pretty cool. So what I do is not only do I have my pre-listing presentation, if it was pre-COVID, right, it would be in a book like this, and I put it in a green folder because I think green is money and it's good luck. So I put it in like either a green envelope or green folder, depends on what I have at that moment. But I also give them like a thank you gift for allowing me the opportunity to present me, my company, and my skills to them. And so it could be anything to a personalized coffee cup or a gift card or snacks, or it could be anything, but just trying to set yourself apart yet again, right? Gene Rivers, I think he said when I listened to him present, he does a lot of personalized coffee cups. So because what do people usually do with their coffee cups? A lot of them take them to work, or if they're really heavy coffee drinkers, they're looking at him all the time. If it takes them to the office, and then the office, that usually goes in the kitchen. If it goes in the kitchen, it's exposed to that audience as well. And so, so he just does that mug over and over again with candy inside wrapped in plastic. And so I liked that idea. One time I had a client reschedule the appointment because his wife was sick. So what I did was I got a big basket and I got her magazines and vitamin C things and anything that would help with a cold. And I put it in a basket and I dropped it off at the door for the wife. And so it's things like that that's going to set yourself apart and make a difference when you're talking to your client, right? Anything else? I mean, maybe in COVID, I mean, we can't really drop anything off. So maybe you could text them or email. I'm not text them, but email them a gift card or something like that, along with your digital presentation. Have you guys ever done anything like that? Anybody? Come on. No, okay. So the consultation, the 10 steps to master it, confirm your appointment. Like I just said, I called to confirm the appointment. Oh, I forgot to call you. I'm sorry. My wife's sick. I need to do it maybe next week. Can we meet next Tuesday night at 7 p.m.? Sure, great. I'll call on Monday and confirm that appointment. That night in their front porch before COVID, she had my Get Well package with the card. And he actually loved that. And he told me so when I called him on Monday night to confirm our Tuesday appointment. Oh, thank you for the basket. My wife loved it. Looking forward to meeting you tomorrow night at the house. And so always, always, always confirm that appointment. Any questions?
Sorry, what did you drop off the night before?
Remember the listing presentation?
The listing.
The pre-listing packet, right, that we're talking about. And then I say, in it, thank you for the opportunity. Inside you'll find, and as part of your homework, read through this and please write down any questions you might have so that when we meet face to face, I could answer all of your questions. Okay. And that's what I do with, like I said, in a green envelope, the shiny green ones. And then I either put a gift with it or cards. It depends on the client, who they are. If I know them a little bit better, I could customize it a little bit, or you could have a generic gift like a branded coffee mug.
Nice.
Just something to set yourself apart again.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd always confirm that appointment. And, it's all about mindset, right? So you've got to go in that you're going to get it. And it's sometimes they even talk about, changing your language. When I meet with you to present my listing, when I go to present my materials or whatever, you could say when I go over there to talk about selling your home. It's really changing your mindset. You're going to go in, you're going to get this presentation, and it's yours and it's nobody else's. And I also include in that pre-listing package, I also include the contract. And the only thing I don't fill out is the recommended price. Good. A lot of times you can walk out with a signed contract.
So what if they're not ready to settle on a price yet? That's what I struggle with.
if they're not ready, and do you have to get the house ready first before it goes on the market?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a modification of I just used it.
But what if they don't want to sign the contract because they haven't decided on a price? So in other words,
So then
they want to think about the price, but they would sign if you didn't force them to pick a price. So how do you get them to sign even though you just say, I'm just going to pick a placeholder price, you're going to sign it, and then I promise you I'll let you change it later? Is that how you handle that?
Modification of terms agreement, it's called.
Well, I know the form. That's not the question. How do you motivate the seller to sign the listing agreement if they haven't picked the price yet?
So part of my listing presentation is a CMA, right? So it kind of gives you an idea.
Yeah.
You already have a kind of an idea of what it's going to list for. And so it's already part of the presentation. So if they did their work, they already saw that. And they probably saw that your recommendation is to put it on the market at 1.1. And you say, we're going to put it on the market. We're going to sign the contract at 1.1. It's going to take me about 2 weeks to get the house prepped and staged. At that time, we're going to reevaluate what's on the market, what has sold. I'll do a new CMA, and then we'll I can develop a new price recommendation. It might be the same. It might be different, but before we go on the MLS, we're going to have that conversation. If we have to change it, there's a form for you to sign for us to change it, or it's going to go on the market, and we'll make that appointment the night before it's going to go on the market. Yeah. Are you okay with that? Right? This document, by signing the contract, this allows me to go to work for you tonight, and start getting everything ready to hit the market to get you top dollar in the shortest amount possible. Right. If they're saying no, then it's really like, so what questions have I not answered for you? Is there something else? It's like going that three deep on the questions. Mm-hmm. It's really, there's something else going on, Yeah. I had one guy in the office, and his name was Craig, and he saw, well, I have these other guys I've already have committed, made appointments with them, and they're coming in after you. He will sign the contract now, and I'll call them and cancel that appointment for you. So, it depends on how aggressive and how, not aggressive, I don't want to say aggressive because that's strong, persistent, right?
And how creative you are. How do you make them feel comfortable with you, that you are taking care of them? I think they have to feel that you are the person that they will go for anything they need regarding the sale of the house. You are the right person. They are in good hands when they work with you. Mm-hmm. You listen to them. You have experience on selling homes. You know what you're doing. You are an expert in the area. I think there are many things they need. And that's one of the first questions that you want to ask when you meet them. What are your expectations from the agent that you want to hire?
Yeah, that's a great question.
When they tell you the expectations they have for the agent they want to hire, they want to tell you the truth, and what is important to them. Some people I don't want to do anything. I want just you to take care of everything. Other people, I want you to be in constant communication. Yeah. I want you to be in constant communication with me. I want to know exactly what is happening at every minute of the process. And whatever is important to them. Because it is based on the previous experience, what happened before.
And I've already probably gone too far on these slides. No, we're still okay. No, you're right. And so, if it's somebody I don't know, I check them out on social media. So I go on their Facebook pages potentially, or LinkedIn, or where do they work? And I try to find out as much information to try to find what that common ground is, so that it's not a total, and so that I try to eliminate as many surprises as possible. I know it's a little bit of stalking, but it isn't. It's like, it's just like prepping for an appointment or preparing yourself for a job interview. You submit your resume, now they made an appointment, and you're going to meet with Donna Castillo because she's the VP of marketing, right? Well, I'm going to know who Donna Castillo is, so I'm going to check her out on LinkedIn, social media, see if we have anybody in common that we're connected to, and things like that. Find out as much as possible so that when you do go meet with them, you have some kind of familiarity with them, and so you can. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You know these things about them, so you can really focus more on what you're presenting and your skill set and how you are going to take care of everything for them. Another thing that you could potentially include in your pre-listing presentation is your industry professional listing, and how you have a vast network and a huge network of industry professionals that are available to help them with whatever they need, from air conditioning to roof repair to bathroom remodel. You know, you could have a listing of people that you've made contact with and that you've worked with in the past, and include that and show that you do have a vast network of industry professionals that can help them, and stagers. And you know, the person that I'm working with right now, he's very corporate, he's an engineer. And so I told him that I would manage the whole budget for him. Well, I mean, I'm managing the budget for myself to see what I'm spending on this listing. So it was really easy to just add his part of it. You know, we did how much the inspections, because I have a line item of what he paid for and tracked it. I go, okay, here's your new expense sheet. He loved that. So it's finding out those things too.
Nice.
Does that help? I'm only supposed to go to page 51 today.
And regarding the price, it is good to say, because you're concerned about the price, Maggie, it is good to say, I think, we are going to put on the contract a tentative price. Mm-hmm. Maybe another house in the neighborhood sells for more, and we can adjust and ask more. Or maybe they sell for less. So anything can happen. You know, this is just a tentative price. This is not set. And they understand that. Anything can happen in 2 weeks. Until they
exactly.
Have 3 weeks.
And mine was in 2 weeks. And, you know, and one sold at the price that I went, one sold in 7 days. In the 2 weeks after we were working on it, there was a house that went on the market and was in contract within 7 days. And so that helped them make a decision on what price point they wanted to be at.
And we are going to talk with that property that goes pending with the listing agent and ask them, how many offers did you have? Because this is the number of people that are looking for homes in the neighborhood. And you want to know how many people made an offer and how high the offers were. So how much they are willing to pay for a house in that neighborhood. That's a very important information. Even before you go to the listing presentation, you want to know what is happening there.
Yeah, and that's part of knowing your market, right?
Exactly.
So there's that high level, you know, we have 5 weeks worth of inventory, but what's really, the one that I'm selling is in Thousand Oaks and Blossom Valley. What's really happening in that exact neighborhood? Yeah. And know, you know, I know that they have like, it's 88% owner occupied, not that many rentals. And just the attractions in the neighborhood is close to Costco and Oak Ridge Mall, and, you know, knowing that.
How do you get the information? Where do you get the information for the rental ratio?
Oh, so you can have title give you a farm for that area. And when they provide you with a farm, there's a column that says owner occupied, yes. So I know.
Okay.
And then so that I just do the calculation, right? Mm-hmm. And so that helps. And then it also tells me, you know, by looking at it, the average years that people live in the houses gives me an idea. If somebody's living there for 20 years, they're probably not in their 20s, right? And so that could kind of tell me if it's an older neighborhood or millennials are living there, things like that. So that also helps me with my marketing of who I need to market to, because who's going to live in that neighborhood.
Nice.
If that makes sense. And so those are all things that you can include in your listing presentation.
And you have to know as much as you can about the area. You cannot go blind, because they know what is happening in the area. They know in the neighborhood.
Right.
They are very aware. And if you don't know what sold, what didn't sell, how much, the conditions of the homes, you have to remember, oh yeah, the house in this street, the house in the other street, how many bedrooms is similar to this one, bigger, two-story house, or whatever.
No, exactly. And that's what's going to make the difference. And having that, not only, you can have that documented, right? You can have a sheet of what Thousand Oaks neighborhood is. It's, you know, 89% owner occupied, whatever the difference is in rentals, average age is, you know, these are all the things that are, that would attract that kind of buyer. There's, you know, right around the corner, there's Bass Pro, you got Costco, Best Buy. There's, you know, Oak Ridge Mall with a bunch of eateries and restaurants, the library's right there. And I had, you know, and then we also had to talk about schools. The schools in that neighborhood aren't good. They're 3s and 4s, right? So to address that, and then, okay, so what kind of private schools are in that area? You know, and so, you know, do you go after people with families and kids, or, and those are all the conversations you have to have so they do trust you, right? So those are all really good things, Vivian. And so I wanted to show you, so I could keep going, because that's really, what we're doing is a small part of a bigger presentation. And so I want to go and do the listing, because so you know you can download a template from Command, right? And I just sent myself. I usually use a PC, so be patient with me when it comes to this, because I mean, I learned originally on a Mac. So I try to keep it. So this is my, this is one. So this is the one that can you see my screen?
No.
No, okay, let me go to. Okay, so this is the one that I downloaded from KW Command. So it's not the Michael Lewis one. I wasn't a fan of the Michael Lewis one, and this one was really easy to use, really easy to download and personalize. So they give it, this is a template. So I just put their name in, my contact information, and then we talk about their property, their guide. And a lot of the things that we were talking about, like the CMA is something that I add in there. So just in case there's a pricing recommendation, not in case. I want them to understand that I know the value of their home. And so I put it in there and I review it with them. So I added actually a picture of the property. This one I just happened to get from Google Maps, but it's actually nicer. I had no notice on this one, but it's actually nicer if you can drive by the house and get a current picture. And I get all this information, you know. Oh, there it is, 82 of the homes are owner occupied. I know nobody leaves. This is a great neighborhood, only 2.6 turnaround per year. So out of 100 houses, only, you know, 2 people will leave. It's close to all the freeways, 87 Oak Ridge Mall. And then there's the schools, and I wanted to make sure, because this could be a problem with somebody that has, it was a problem with one buyer already. They loved the house, they loved the neighborhood, hated the schools. They had somebody that was going to start an elementary school. They didn't want to put them in Terrell. Totally understood. So that's why it's important to address those things. What are the great features about the house that you can sell, and what's going to be a challenge? So this was 2 weeks prior. And you notice they're all selling at about $1 million. So that's probably where that house would go. One sold for 1.2, so we put it at 1.2. And then this is where I get into the more generic, you know, and you start going deeper dive. You know, what's the one thing that could happen to make your dream? What's important to you? How can I help you get there? And so that's kind of like the homework process. The homework part of the process, right? I want them to read this and come up with questions. So you kind of put the questions in there so that they go, oh yeah, we got to ask her that. We talk about the process. We're going to have this initial meeting. You know, we're having it right now. I'm going to walk through your home, and I'm going to walk through your home with the eyes of a buyer. And so, and to do that, it's almost like you want to walk through it like you're completing your AVID and do a needs analysis. I want to say sign the listing agreement. I want to walk away with that listing agreement signed. And then talk about within 48 hours, they're going to have their, well, you can't do coming soon anymore, huh? That's something new as well, right? But they'll, once the house is ready to go on the market, they'll have the for sale sign. We talk about pricing.
We cannot have coming soon sign?
No, well, you can have a coming soon, but it has to be on the MLS. And once it's on the MLS, it's really not coming soon anymore, right?
No, you can.
No,
but you can put in coming soon in MLS. You can. There is a coming soon, right?
Yeah, there's a coming soon section on the MLS, as long as it's in the
Right.
coming soon section.
As long as it's in there, yes.
Yeah.
But before we didn't even have to do that, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And why you don't like to put it in MLS in coming soon? What's the reason?
Just if the house wasn't ready.
Okay, but you start the marketing. So as soon as the house goes in MLS, you sell it. That's what I did my last listing. I put it 2 weeks before I put it in the market, incoming soon. As soon as I put it in the market, I had 5 offers and I sold it like this in 1 week. That's done.
Awesome.
That's done. It is the
Was the
best.
house ready? Did you have to show it?
No, because it was right in the, we put it in the market 2 weeks after the quarantine started.
There you go.
And so when I had to bring the photographers, the video guy, everything, you know, the video tour, I didn't know what to do. It was, and I told my seller, listen.
That's a good problem to have.
Don't worry about it. We know what to do. We will do this.
That's a good problem.
You're going to, yeah. Everything is, don't worry about it. It's okay. We can handle this. We don't need them. We are going to sell the house together. But I need your help, I said. We're going to do this together. I want you to go with the phone and go slowly, area by area, and tell them about your house.
You did it, huh? Good
Jokes about it. Talk about your dog. Your dog is there. Tell them about the name of your dog. You know what you like about it. Why you bought this house when you were looking for the house?
You're gonna do all my virtual tours, I tell you.
So they did a beautiful virtual tour. It was excellent. 20 minutes virtual tour.
They loved it, right?
But you know what?
Did it as a team. Yeah, and if that works for that buyer, that was amazing. You know, that was amazing.
How do you handle, you had brought up going through the house with the eyes of a buyer. What if they say, oh, we want to fix up a few things here and there. Can you give us ideas? And of course, I'd be happy to give them ideas, but they're time consuming ideas, things that take time. So part of me wants to say, you know what, it's perfect. Don't touch it. Let's go. But then they make some more money if they replace the kitchen counters. So how do you balance whether or not?
Was their objective depends on what was it sell it fast?
No, they just want to get the most money for it. And if it takes another 2 months, then that's fine with them. They'll get a contractor, get a bid, blah, blah, blah. But then that's 2 months that I'm not on the market. So, and I don't know for sure that new counters are going to actually make a difference. Maybe there'll be more listings in 2 months and they'll have more competition and it'll actually hurt them. So I don't know how you make those trade-off decisions.
So on that, I had a great class on that yesterday. So you can do an analysis on like new granite countertops, right? You can find houses and see how much they are with like properties. Does it give it 4% more? Does it give it 2% more?
Even if you know the answer to that, you don't know that in 2 months, there's not going to be 10 listings instead of 1 listing. And they would have actually made $50,000 more if they would have listed and not put the counters on, you know?
Well, my answer is always, I don't have a crystal ball. I know that today interest rates are 2.75 for a 30-year fixed. In 2 months, if the interest rate is 7% or 5, 10, what is it, 1 point, you lose about $10,000 worth of buying power, is it? So, you're going to have less people in this price range, right? Or
yeah. So how do you make that call? Do you recommend the counters or not? That's what I can't decide. I can't decide. Should I tell them, yes, there are things you should fix, or should I tell them it's just perfect, let's just get to market? I mean, I don't know what to recommend.
I always say that unless it's something huge like a hole in the wall. Do you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people go in and they just gut the kitchen anyways, or they go in and they gut the bathroom anyways. Me myself, when I bought my house, it had brand new carpets and they redid the bathroom, but it was ugly, and I just knocked it down. And so my job is to keep money in your pocket so that you can make the most out of this house. We know that the interest rates are low right now. We don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. So my recommendation is, keep some money in your pocket and let's just try to get it on the market as quickly as possible so that you get top dollar down. Because in 2 months, I don't know what's top dollar in 2 months. I can't tell you. I know today that, you're going to make about 1.2 on that home. You know, in 2 months, it could be 1.4, or it could be 800,000. I can't tell you that I don't have a crystal ball, but I know today, you know, your objective is to move to Phoenix as soon as possible with your family. Do you want to do that now? Or do you want to wait 2 months? You just got to put their words out there back at them. I mean, with like your client, where did, you know, they said you want to tell them wait or not. What's their objective for selling?
They're moving to Texas, yeah, for a more affordable retirement.
So,
yeah.
Right. And so do they need the money in this house to buy over there?
No. Well, I guess they do, but they're going to move into a vacation home temporarily. So they don't desperately need it, but eventually need it.
Okay. So do you want to be in that vacation rental for 2 months and not knowing how long you're going to be in that house and how much you're going to get? Or do you want to know now and get into your home? Yeah.
So when you say go through it with the buyer's eye, you shouldn't recommend major changes that are time consuming, just minor fixes that can be done quickly.
Well, when
if you go back, it depends on what what's their reasoning, right?
They have something in mind already. They know what they want already before they talk with you. So you ask them, what are you thinking to do in the house before you put it in the market? What's your plan? And they said, well, we were thinking about changing the kitchen. Okay, this is going to cost you this much. And let's see how long the contractor is going to take. When you bring the contractor and they give you an estimate, how much it's going to be and how long it's going to take to finish, maybe they finish in 1 week and it's done. You don't know. You cannot make a decision out of air. You need to have facts. Everything has to have something that will tell them, this is all the information I have for you to make a good decision. And they make the decision. Maybe in 1 week it will be done, but it's too much money. They don't want to spend the money. So everything depends. They can't make a decision without information. They need as much information as possible to make a decision. And that's your job, to give them all the information they need to make the best decision in every single situation.
And how do you convince them to do inspections if they don't want to spend?
You don't convince people.
Okay, so you just tell them you can do inspections or you don't, or you cannot do them, and you let them decide.
What's the advantage or what's the disadvantage?
Right.
For the inspections, what happened? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to take away the class from you.
I see. Yeah, just basically let them make the decision. Give them the pros and cons of as you see it. Yeah.
You give them I just put it in as part of the process.
You just say part of the process is to get inspections.
And you can pay for it now, or you can pay for it out of escrow. How do you want to do it?
Okay.
I mean, and if they question it, I mean, I have a perfect example. I had an older couple in Aberdeen Valley that didn't want to do inspections, and you have to do inspections. This is, you're in Aberdeen Hills. I know you have termites because everyone has termites. Let's figure out what the situation is. They wanted 1.5 for this house. Where they got the number, I don't know. But they had $35,000 worth of termites. In addition to that, they hadn't upgraded the house since in the 70s. And so, thank God I knew that I would hate to go into contract at 1.5 and then then the buyer does the inspection, there's 35,000. You might have lost the deal, right? Versus knowing what's up front and what you're willing to fix and not fix, and what you can negotiate on and what you can't negotiate on. But you know what? That's really Silicon Valley. You go outside Silicon Valley, buyers pay for inspections. So, here, if you want to do it, and if you want to do it fast for top dollar, you do inspections up front. So yeah, I don't ask whether they want to. I just say inspections are going to be about $700. You want to pay for them now or out of escrow, and then they just kind of go with it. They don't. I don't even think they know they have a choice, but it's really in their. And I don't want to say I want to take that choice away, but it's really in their benefit that they know the condition of the house. And if there's mold and fungus and $25,000 worth of termite damage and a bad roof, with foundation issues, right? That's going to help you with the pricing recommendation too, when you finally go on a price. Yeah. So that's, and then we always talk about the app and how they can easily download the app. So that's standard inside their presentations. oops, that came out. Sorry about that. Your custom marketing plan. This is where, you know, I could talk about the plan. This is the generic information that's provided by the Keller Williams template. You know, it talks about people go on the internet, right? First thing to find a house. And if they're going on the internet, then, you know, be checking our app. And then all the best in class promotional materials are assets. So I bring in some samples of the nice brochures we print out in advance. We put in, you know, in the little flyer box, and anything else, any kind of samples of Facebook ads or anything else you're doing, postcards that goes out to the neighborhood. We give them samples of everything. This is more generic. I guess I could populate it with my own stuff so that I was thinking my pictures there instead of that guy, but postcards. And this is all really generic. So you could potentially have a lot of this already created and just sitting there. And then it's just those couple of pages of personalization and the CMA. Then we talk about the strategies, right? There's always going to be a coming soon strategy that just listed. And that might have helped. It was you, right? With the 1%er. He's not doing all this. Not for 1%. Bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, bad. The virtual open house strategy with the little dog, right? And you talk about that. So on the listing that I just did, I did video, pictures, and a 3D Matterport of the home because of COVID. And I found a vendor that's less expensive than like Tour Factory. So if anybody wants that one, they did a great job. And I did an agent intro and outro. Oops. See, that's the one thing on Apple. I turned off my phone, but it still rings on the computer. And staging. And because my family did move out, I was able to stage and take the pictures with the staging, and the house looks gorgeous. And you talk about how houses sell quicker, faster, for more. How
much do you pay for staging?
How much did I pay?
Yeah, do you pay 100% of staging, or do you share the cost with him? Or
this one, he just picked it up. He didn't care. Okay. He wanted the whole place staged, and so this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, almost 1,700 square foot house, and it was $3,500, which I thought was pretty good because the house was empty. They brought everything in: tables, chairs, pictures, carpets. They brought in everything. They did a great job, and they did it in about 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, she was amazing. And it's one of our preferred vendors at Keller Williams. Renee gave me the name. And it was the first time I used her. She was amazing. Then we talk about the details, the yard signs, professional photography. You know, we talk just all the marketing stuff they put it very generically here, but then you could do the deeper dive when you're having that conversation with them. And then you talk about yourself, your value prop, marketing. This is KW Awards, which is just a standard template. We talk about our vision, mission, and values, the win-win, you know, integrity, customers, commitment. And this is all standard. You just download it, which is just amazing. It's just my prior brokerage, I had to customize the whole thing. And that was a nightmare. So once again, we talked about what sold. Oh no, these are the ones that I did. And then not the ones. So you put some samples of what you did, you put your testimonials in there, and your promise that you're gonna do what it takes to get it done in the shortest amount possible for top dollar is basically what it says. And all this is just template with the words, with the pictures, but you're more than able, you can change any image, you can change the words really easily, and you can add and delete pages. So it's amazing. It's just KW in Designs, and you just download a template. There's a black one, and then there's more of a white one. And it saves it, and then you just got to redo the numbers. And so the first one's what's going to take the longest, and after that, it happens really fast.
They have a horizontally one, you know, oriented one too. So when you present on your computer over a phone call or in person, that it's not oriented tall, it's oriented wide. That's what I use as a wide one.
I don't present it after I give it to them.
I present it while I'm giving it to them. So instead of having them, like I wanted to present it on their coffee room table with the computer instead of them touching papers and stuff, I do a vertical, you know, or I guess a horizontal orientation. So it's fat instead of long.
So think about this too. You could do it that way, and that works. But what if you gave it to them the night before and you asked them to read through it and you know, give me your questions? You know, you kind of then you're done with it. You put it aside, you answer their questions, and then you tour the house. And now you're talking about staging and pictures and videography,
Right.
and how they're going to put the house to the market. And that's already done, that part of it, right? You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't, so then you're not,
Mm-hmm.
makes sense?
Right. Yeah.
You just have to give it to them in advance. So if you're not able to give it to them in advance,
I see.
then you go through this, right?
Right.
But say, okay, did you read through the materials that I, you know, the pre-listing package that I sent over? Yeah, I did. Do you have any questions? Yeah, I do. We have a couple of questions. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Talk about the questions, and then say, great, okay, can I tour the house? You know, tour the house, come back, and then you're really getting to sign my contract. That's your goal, is to close and get that listing before you walk out the door. So it changes the focus a little bit for you. But it's also what you're comfortable with. But yeah, but after I give it to them, I don't look at it again.
I have experience where they don't have time to go through it. They're busy working, you know, or whatever, and they just don't have time to do it. So I show up and they say, no, I haven't looked at it, because I want to make an effort to sell myself as a realtor. So I want to do a slideshow, and that's why I use the Michael Lewis marketing suite, you know, the horizontal oriented one. And even if I don't go through the whole thing, I do show them a list of what my, you know, the work is that I do, and some examples. So I use it as a way to present. I mean, I come from the tech industry, and I was in marketing for 30 years, and I like give presentations as a way to differentiate myself, but I can't do that with my computer if it's oriented the wrong way, which is why I like the Michael Lewis marketing suite listing presentation.
And that's fine too. That's a good one as well. Yeah. I just like this one.
But you know, did they have one? Does Command have? You don't know if they have one that's.
Yeah, I would have to check. Just
yeah, I can look too. I'm just curious. Yeah.
And I give it to them, and I yeah. Well, you're in the tech industry. Are you in California, Maggie?
Yeah.
You're in the San Jose office?
I'm in Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz office. Who'd you work for?
Microsoft, SAP, Dell Computer, Symantec, and Dell Networks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me too. I had to do presentations all the time. I was like Adobe, and Atmel and Cadence semiconductor company. So everything was very engineer, got to see it. And so, you know, it's also knowing your client too. So if it's an engineer, they might want to go through this.
Well, no, like if I want to show them examples of staging that I've done, and show them a list of my 15-point marketing plan, and show them, you know, basically what you're doing, except for I just do a shorter version when I'm in front of them in case they haven't looked through the leave. I've done leave behinds in the past, and they just say, oh yeah, we didn't have time to look at that. So that's why I like to have a presentation to give them. And sometimes I do it, sometimes it doesn't work out. It just depends on the client, but
exactly,
it's nice to have that. Or I go over it over the phone, you know, through a Zoom call. I've been doing Zoom presentations a lot with buyers. So
right, buyers. I know it's all about buyers right now. I've been getting a lot of buyers as well.
Yeah.
And that, sure, you can do that as well. That works too. But you know, the main thing is, I don't want to, sorry, at 2:10. But the main thing is that it is readily available. It's there. It's a great presentation. If you're going to do a printed version, and we are able, and as COVID's over, you know, the little binder is just amazing. Just glue it in and leave it behind. We'll actually deliver it in advance and then leave it behind. And then you can see what's really generic in here. And then you see the parts that I personalize. And the parts that I personalize, like the CMA, which includes a pricing recommendation, wouldn't be bound inside of there. It would be additional. And those are the things that I like to review when I get in there. That's really the meat. Let's talk about, you know, what's your house worth in today's market, and what can I do to help you get it sold fast for top dollar. So any other questions? I know we're 10 minutes over. I'm sorry. We probably went a little bit farther than I should have on the on the consultation part of it. We could have just kept going on that one. Any questions?
No, it was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Vivian, nothing else? I love your that you got the clients to do the virtual tour and introduce the dog. That's hysterical. Anybody else doing virtual tours?
Pardon me?
Anybody else doing virtual tours?
Oh, other people.
Yeah. Anybody else? Are you doing them? Nobody?
No.
This weekend will be my first. I'll let you know what happens. Yeah, because I'm going to have to do it. The owners are gone, so that'd be fine.
And on
Okay,
my listing, nobody could come inside the house. We sold the house without letting anybody in.
Awesome.
When we accepted the offer, the buyer, only one person from the family was able to walk through the house.
Wow.
The mom.
Wow.
And nobody else. My sellers didn't let anybody in. It was tough for people, but it was just the beginning of the quarantine. So everybody was so scared.
They're scared. Yeah. They're so scared. Well, and they should be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
numbers are crazy.
I'm scared. I'm still scared. I don't want to get it.
Oh, me neither. Okay, so if you guys, let me know if you have any questions, or if you can't, it's just in designs. If you have any problems finding it, let me know. Michael Lewis is still available because you're a Michael Lewis fan. That's cool. That one is available as well. And let me know if you have any questions about the pricing or how to come up with the CMA or anything. Just feel free to reach out, okay? Thank you guys for participating. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you found some value in it. Okay, thanks you guys. We'll talk to you guys all soon. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.